reminding you to check the air in your tires. It's much ado about nothing. I'm Adam.
And I'm J Rock.
All right. So, last week, J Rock had a little incident that will bring us to the topic that I want to talk about today. So, I'm going to let J Rock tell the story and then uh, we'll go into the topic. So,
He
the
just
floor is
loves
yours.
embarrassing me.
I don't like embarrassing you, but it's better than me telling it because I wasn't there.
Mm.
No one wants secondhand information.
Oh yeah. No, I went to go pick up my new because I got a new desk, and they had curbside pickup, which I always love. I screw COVID. Curbside pickup is amazing. Like, I hope it stays. But
Mm.
did curbside pickup, and per the email, when I got there, I parked in a parking space, which this parking lot is tiny, and they have all of the spaces like clumped together really weird. So it was a feat even like figuring out where to park. So I park and open the email, hit I'm here, and they come out and they're standing in front of the store. Like, oh, okay, well, guess they need to go to the front of the store and not
It is
actually
curbside,
park.
right?
Yeah, well, it's curbside, but again, the email explicitly said find a parking space and park.
Mm.
So I just followed the email. And typically they have like markers up or something, but they didn't have any. But anyway, I digress. So I'm like, oh crap. Okay. So they see me and I like wave at them, and then I put the car in reverse. I look at the backup camera, don't see anything, and am paying more attention to, because there was in my backup camera, I could see another car. So that's what I was really focused on. I glance up to make sure they're not coming to me by some weird thing. And boom. I backed into the base, one of those concrete bases for a light pole.
Mm. Did you get the desk?
Yes, I got the desk.
Well, you didn't finish the whole story. I mean, it'd just be
Well,
funny
yeah,
if
I
it's like,
got the
well,
desk, and then I parked, and then I checked out the damage.
okay, it would have been funny if it's like you hit the thing and then you drove home and left the guys standing out there with the desk.
No,
Like, is she coming to get this? Or,
no, I was humiliated, but I wasn't like that humiliated.
oh, yeah. No, sorry, real quick. I just thought it was funny that you said the spaces were all grouped together, all weird. I'm just imagining somebody going out there, like lifting the asphalt up and be like, okay, put these lines over here. Yeah, you go out there, like the lines are like, it looks like an asterisk out here. Where am I supposed to park?
No,
Um,
like you know how normally like it's kind of in lines where you have like
mhm,
the ones right up in front of the store, and then
yeah.
you have a line in the center. This is like there were none in front of the store. There were like a couple to the right side of the store, and then this weird little grouping in like the center of the parking lot, and then some really far back. Like it was weird. And then they were all those slightly tilted ones
Hmm.
or angled ones. So they weren't even like the straight parking.
Hmm.
So I was honestly, I was paying attention more to the other cars because I did not want to hit another car.
And you hit another non-car instead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to the thing that got me thinking from that was
We've
you were
only had
looking.
this car a month. That's
Well,
what
yeah,
first got you
that's
thinking.
no. I'm saying about this topic. That was of course that thought went through my head. I'm like, we just got this car and it's already
Hmm.
been damaged. Anyway, um, damaged by a non-moving object. Anyway, it's a story for another day, but it happened a different time with J Rock. So,
Oh
uh,
my, no.
no, we're not going into that. We're not going to.
Good. We're never
Um,
going to, yeah.
we might someday. On a
No, we won't.
content light week, we might.
No,
But
we
my whole
won't.
point was that you were looking at the backup camera, You know, you've got eyeballs, you've got a rear view mirror, you've got mirrors on the sides of the car. Um, and you looked at the camera said there was nothing until you backed up and you hit something that the camera didn't see, or that you didn't notice that the camera saw, or maybe the angle of it, because it's got kind of like that fisheye lens
Yeah, that's what I
effect.
think happened.
But in any case, what I'm saying is you didn't use your eyes, you trusted the technology to tell you something, and you came out of there with some battle damage because of it. Um, but it kind of got me thinking, like what kind of technologies do we rely on in place of our own, like our own understanding, our own skill, our own ability. Um, because like I said, this is only the second car that we've had that has a backup camera, and it actually replaced the first car that had a backup camera. Long story short, we sold the first car because we got a lot of money off from it, and then used it to get a bigger vehicle. It was a financial decision. It wasn't because I wanted to. Because we traded for a minivan. Who wants to buy a minivan?
Me?
Yeah, you do. Um, so this is still the only car that we have that has a backup camera. Um, but before that, we had to crane around, lean over the thing, over your seat, like that's what I was told when I did my driving test. The guy's like, "Oh, you're supposed to put your arm up here and turn around and look behind you there to see how you're backing up." I'm like, "I got all the mirrors," and he's like, "Don't be looking around everywhere. Just turn around and look." I'm like, "Whatever." Um, but that's what we had. That's what we had before. Now with the backup camera there, it's like we disregard the other things that we did before to accomplish the same purpose. Um, so like what other kinds of things are there where we do that? And I can go first on this one. Like the first one I thought of after that was spell check. I like when I was younger, I used to keep a dictionary on my desk, and I would actually look up words if I didn't know how to spell them, assuming that the
How?
diction what
But if you don't know how to spell it,
if
how
I
do
can
you
get
look it up?
because if I can get in the ballpark and I read the definition, and I know, like, if I know the definition of the word, then I know what I'm looking up. And if I look it up and it's not there, it's like, okay, I must not be spelling it right.
Hmm.
So I'll go and look a different way. Obviously, a very time intensive thing. Excuse me. But I think it kind of means more because I was actually putting the effort into, committing that to memory. Whereas these days, you have spell check or, why can I never remember?
Oh, where it finishes the
Yeah,
sentence
like
for you.
autocomplete,
Yeah.
autocorrect, um, to do that for us. And for me, it's like two like specific words, and I don't know why these come up so often, but they do. The words occasion and embarrassed or embarrassing, embarrassment, some variation
Yeah.
of it. I can never remember how many C's and S's are in occasion. I can never remember how many R's and S's there are in embarrassed.
Oh,
Um,
I have a whole list of ones that especially um biscuit.
definitely,
Yeah, definitely.
defiantly.
Yeah, like
You're not the only one who spells it that way.
it's no, I am just
But
an extraordinarily bad speller.
you rely on spell check to tell you, hey, you spelled that wrong. Here's how you're supposed to spell it.
Yeah, I have
It's
to.
well, and it's like it's it's one of those things, and we can talk about this later. But it's like whether or not it's a good idea to rely on that kind of stuff, or to what degree you rely on it, because like for me, I should know how to spell those words after I've misspelled them so many times. And I think for me, because I just trust that the spell check is going to catch it for me. I've never, I haven't dug through the dictionary like I used to. I've never learned the muscle memory to know, okay, it's occasion is O and then two C's, ASION.
Did you not ever do the exercise? We used to do these.
Do I look like I exercise?
No, we used to have. It was where it was like a letter, and then it only did spell check, but it did things like it corrected B, as in like I will be late, to B as in BEE. Or what are some other, oh, can we meet up later, to instead of MEET to MEAT, as
So the
like
thing,
a showcase of like why you shouldn't rely on spell check and things like that.
mm-hmm.
I can't remember what you were supposed, I think you were supposed to like circle them and then write the right correct one or
So is
something
this
like
like for
that.
school or something?
I think so. It was so
Okay.
long ago I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure it would have been for school, and I was
Mm-hmm.
homeschooled, so I think it might have been some kind of curriculum or something.
Mm. That homeschool curriculum.
Whatever, Mr. Home, you were
Yeah, I
homeschooled
know I
too.
was too. Well, I also went to public school, and then I went to college, and then I went back to public school. My educational journey was, uh,
Varied.
it's like the way I read a book, where it's like I'll start in the start, jump into the middle, go check the back of the book, and see, oh, it's 800. Oh, Order of the
You
Phoenix is 800.
heathen.
Will you let me tell my story? I see, oh, Order of the Phoenix is 870 pages long, and then I go back. Like, oh, okay, that's kind of how my educational journey was. I'm like, I was all over the place.
You do not. No, that's not how you read.
That's a topic for a different day.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, spell check for me is one where it's, I don't know if it's good to rely on it, but that's one that is my backup camera, so to speak. So now I have more. I don't know if you want to jump in before I go to mine. If you have any.
The only one I can think of it right now is contacts, your contact list. At
Oh,
this
okay.
point,
Oh, like on a phone.
yeah, at this
Sorry.
point, the only phone numbers I have memorized are yours and my mom's.
Sorry. You said contacts. I'm like, well, like for your eyes, like.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
no.
that's a good thing. Yeah, yeah, you got to rely on it. You can't drive
Yeah,
some,
that's.
if you can't drive or
I
see
need
anything.
these.
No, yeah, no, contactless. That's a good one.
hmm
Um, I remember when I was in high school, um, there was a guy on our bus. This would have been like 2002. So not everybody had phones. They weren't super common. Like I didn't have my own phone, and when I did, it was my mom's phone, and it was a track phone where, it was like that, shaped like
hmm
that, and it was also that thick,
Yeah, I
and
was 10, so I had nothing.
yeah, you probably still had one of those like little play school phones at the
No.
or the one on the wheels like in Toy Story.
Oh, no. We didn't play.
Anyway,
I don't know. I didn't play that stuff.
I didn't play with real life things. Um,
Like, I legit
I know,
didn't.
yeah, and now look at you. Uh, there's not
Just
even
turn my camera off.
there's not even an insult to go with that. I'm just saying it. But anyway, so this is like 2002. Hold on a second. Your camera is kind of funky. There we go. That's better. Um, I don't know how long it's been like that. This guy that was on our bus, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend or some girl that liked him and he didn't like her. But she said, well, why don't you call me anymore? And he said, because I got a new phone and I don't know your phone number. And I remember thinking, how do you not know her phone number? Like you obviously would have talked to this girl. I assume it would have been pretty often. How do you not at least remember, have the muscle memory to push the buttons, push the numbers to call her? And then when I got a real phone with a contact list and everything, I understood what how that is. And I've had times where, I meet somebody and it's like, oh, let's exchange numbers, and they'll hand me their phone or I'll hand them my phone and type it in, call, you know, if they hand me their phone, I'll type in my number, call my phone. It's like, oh, okay, that's them. Add it to my contacts, and I never see that number again. As long
Yeah.
as I know their name.
I just hit add new contact and then hand it to them. And then I
Yeah,
text them.
and then in that case, in that case, you probably don't even look at the number.
Nope.
You know, so yeah, that's a really good example of. I mean, I don't. Yeah, we'll address all this after our examples, but yeah, something that gets relied on to the point where we don't remember phone numbers anymore. I'll be honest, I don't really remember my mom's phone number. I got my dad's
Yeah.
numbers memorized, but only because he's had the same phone number for like 20 years.
That's why I have my
Um,
mom's. She's had the same one forever.
yeah. Oddly, like, and maybe it's because it came from a time before cell phones and all that. I still remember my phone number when I lived in Albuquerque. I don't remember the area code, but I still remember the phone number. There's no use for it. I think I've put it on, like like at Best Buy, if you go to buy something, they're like, hey, can I get a phone number? I've used it before for that,
Yeah.
but never for I haven't called it. And I think I was 6 the last time we had that phone number. But yeah, these days I don't even. I mean, I got a bunch of contacts on my phone. I couldn't tell you any of their actual numbers.
Yeah.
My boss, I don't know her phone number. I text her like every other week for something for work. Couldn't tell you what her phone number is though.
Yeah, you
So
just
yeah, I see the name. I text, and I don't even know if it shows it on my phone. I'll have to look. It may not even show the number. But anyway, my next example. Did you have any other examples?
not that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure as
Okay.
we keep talking I might think of something, but
Okay. My next example, and it's kind of along the same lines, is the internet. Um, Google, Wikipedia. I'm talking for like looking things up.
oh, yeah, yeah.
I remember my dad telling a story about I can't remember what it was exactly. I want to say it was like the words to like a TV show theme song or something like that.
Mhm.
This would have been in the early '90s. He was talking to somebody at work, and he said it was one way. The person at work said it was a different way. There's nothing to look it up.
Mhm.
You know, you had to either hope somebody had it recorded, or hope you heard it on the radio, or hope you saw it on TV or something. But there was no, hold on, let me check. Pull out your phone, Google it. Oh, it says right here, I'm right. You know,
Yeah.
it's, um, and I mean, I, for me, what I've noticed it does is I don't retain a ton of information like I used to because I know where I retain where I can get it, but not the actual information itself.
Yeah.
When I was, like 2003, 2004, I mean, I had the specs of just about every new car that was out there memorized. If I saw a Mercedes with a V12, I knew exactly how much horsepower it had, how much torque it made, the red line, the transmission, all the curb weight, all that stuff. Um, I don't know that stuff anymore, and I think it's because at the time I mean even in 2004 I didn't really look stuff up like that. If I read it in a magazine or I saw it somewhere, um, I would I would like force myself to remember it, but these days I don't even bother with that unless it's something
Yeah.
significant to me. Like going back to cars, I couldn't tell you how much horsepower our previous car had. I don't even know
Mhm.
the engine size. I think it was a 1.4 liter.
Yeah.
I know it was a 4 cylinder and that was it. But that's the thing. It's like because it's so convenient to look it up, today, I don't bother remembering it.
Yeah.
So,
True.
um, and then do you have any others? I got one more and then I can go to the last part of this.
Of things like we rely on.
Yeah.
I'll be the one, and like I understand why we have to. Like I do. but
Don't
it
be
still is a
controversial.
little. I'm not being controversial,
Okay.
I don't think. Just the whole like banks,
Hmm.
like how automated that all is, and like they're keeping track of our money with a computer. Like, I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. And I hope you kind of understand what I'm saying, but that like they're keeping track of so many people's money with computers, and there's like very limited like physical money.
Money.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah, like
I
the
don't know
banks
if I'm
don't.
making any
The
sense.
banks don't have the actual dollars necessarily. It's just
Yeah, like
it's
they don't go
it's
open a door that's labeled, my
here's
account.
J-Rock's account and here's all the
Yeah.
dollars that are in it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know if I'm
And
sometimes if I'm not careful that freaks me out.
well, and the thing is, it's like I mean, it's so common. You just kind of, excuse me. I mean, you just kind of get used to it. I mean, it's
Well, and they
the
kind of have
first.
to. Like, if you're being real about it, like, that's a lot to keep track of. It is easier and quicker and probably safer to do it that way,
Hmm.
but it's still, I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's that level of disconnection between you and your actual money.
Mm
You know, it's and it's funny because I've talked about that. Not on here, but I've talked about that before. That your money. Like I get paid from work. We have direct deposit.
hmm.
Their
Mm hmm.
number, like, and I work in that part of uh like paying people. So I see the file that has the dollar amounts. It's just, I mean, they're Excel files with
Yeah.
dollar amounts on them or
Mm
like
hmm.
text files. And then they get sent to a bank. And then that bank takes, it's just a bunch of ones and zeros on a file that get sent to another bank with a bunch of ones and zeros that tell them, hey, this, Adam has,
Mm
or
hmm.
Adam now has this many more dollars in his account. Oh, okay, we'll update our side to show that on his side. There's no actual
Mm.
paper dollars. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all
And and you work in that
electronic.
field, so you've seen what can happen when technology goes awry and you have issues with it. So I would think for you it would
Yeah.
be even scarier because you actually see that stuff. I
Well,
don't.
we actually had that problem today because yesterday was Veterans Day. And
Oh,
some, so banks are now like catching up from yesterday,
oh
processing
yeah.
things that they would have seen that would have come in yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And so a bunch of people are like, well, where's my money? Or I don't see it, I don't see my paycheck. And it's like, that's, you know,
You gotta talk to your bank.
yeah. Well, and it's funny because that's what we've gotten used to is here's this technology that supposedly makes it easier. But then when that happens, it's like, well, maybe getting a bunch of, a stack of cash would have been a little more uh, reassuring.
Yeah. Well,
In
I
that
don't know. I
situation.
personally am an
So,
advocate of always having at least some cash on hand just in case, stuff
well,
happens.
yeah. I mean,
But
but it is interesting that it's like, oh, we just have that trust that, oh, this technology is going to do it for us, and that
yeah.
it's correct.
Well, and I
But
see you doing this in stocks. I mean, as an outsider who really knows nothing about them, stocks are kind of the same way for me where I'm like, this is all like you're trading things that don't physically exist. Like it's just
most of the time,
weird.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah,
um,
stuff like that for me is like, whoa.
yeah. No, it is, and I mean that could be all of these things. I think could be their own videos. Maybe we will come back and do specific videos on each of these. Um, but I wanted to get just to the last part before we wrap up. Um, and kind of what I've been getting at this whole time. Um, is it necessary? Is it a good thing or a bad thing, or maybe just kind of neutral that we rely on that technology to do those things for us?
I would put it as neutral because I feel that it can be a good thing if you're willing to adjust it, tweak it, change it if it needs changing. And I feel like that goes for a lot of things. I think there's a lot of things that can be good if you're willing to adjust if you need to adjust. But if you're going to go, this is just the way it is, we're not changing it, then it's a bad thing to me.
Yeah,
Like, you know
I'm
what I mean? Especially with
kind of.
technology. Like, if the system isn't working, maybe it's time to examine the system and maybe make a couple changes.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I'm a.
I think deep fakes are a good example of that, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
they could be used for good, but because they could also be used for so much bad, let's really examine the system that we use with them and
And
make sure
like,
we're changing and tweaking things as they need it.
and I mean, also evaluating how much you rely on something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember this was 2016, 2017, something like that. I saw a video, and it was somebody giving. It was like 5 seconds of somebody talking, and then they did the same. They did that with, and they had Donald Trump on there saying it. Then they had Barack
Mm-hmm.
Obama on there saying it. Same head motions, same mouth movements, all that stuff. And at some point you've got to, I think, in my opinion, and I'm usually right, so I'm right about this one. But you got to still, you can't just shut your brain off and let the machine do the thinking for you,
No.
or let the program or the process, whatever, do it for you. It's
Yeah,
you know
not
you still
always.
you still got to root it in reality in some way. Like for me, for the bank, or going back to the bank thing, I still go in there and check my bank account. I still
Yeah.
make sure that it matches what I'm supposed to get paid.
Yeah, you
And
have to evaluate threats. Like,
and I well
the
and
deep
I
fakes could be a threat to national security.
yeah
So that needs to be examined. Like, that's when you can't
well and I
just let it
I,
go.
I'm not even I wouldn't even say you need to wait until they're like, it doesn't have to be a threat. It can be a totally innocuous thing. It can be, like banking. You and I know this because I've fielded these calls many times. But you get people who just automatically assume that, well, today was payday, I assume I got paid. They didn't get a paper,
Mm,
they didn't get
yeah.
any cash, they didn't get a paper check in their hand, they didn't go to the bank to deposit anything. They just assume it happened. And then
Hmm.
months down the road, they find out, oh, it didn't happen. And then they have a problem with it. It's like, they made that assumption, they trusted that technology, way back then. And then months, years later, even, they find out, hey, I actually didn't get that.
Yeah.
And then, we have to resolve that and figure out, oh, actually, it's, that's correct, that's not correct, whatever. Um, but they put their trust in that and never actually, they don't say, okay, the technology is doing all this, but I'm going to make sure that in reality that's still how it is.
Yeah.
And going all the way back to the start of this with you and the camera and the backup camera. Well, I got to tie everything together, right? For me,
Yes.
for me, I never trust the backup camera entirely. I use it because a lot of times it's going to have a better view. Like if I had to choose between looking behind me on that camera and looking in the rearview mirror and looking past all the seats and the C pillars and the headliner and all the stuff that's in the way of the actual window, the camera's going to give you a clearer picture. Is it going to give you the entire picture though? No. There's
Yeah.
there's still times where it's like what I see there and what I can see with my eyes from my angle might be two different things, and I might get information from one that I don't get from the other.
Yeah.
So it's like, as convenient as that technology is and as mostly correct as that technology is, I think there's still a need for having like some sort of non-technological, like reality based thing, like from myself, that verifies that what I see, that what the technology is giving me is actually the case.
Yeah. I mean, I think
So,
in most cases.
well, like I said, I don't want to trust it 100%.
Yeah, no.
That's how you find yourself asking, why haven't I gotten a check in the last 5 months?
Yeah.
Well, you should you should have asked when you should have looked at your bank account and noticed that. But
Yeah.
anyway, well, I think we'll wrap it up there. I think it's a deeper topic than what we're able to cover today. I think we could really
I
go in
figured it
depth on
would
some of this
be.
stuff, but I think that's a good kind of overview of those things, a little bit of everything there. So, also just to clarify, I didn't get that upset, did I?
No,
I mean,
you didn't.
I didn't yell.
No, I came home crying because I was fully
Yeah, and
anticipating getting out, to be
why?
honest.
Yeah, but see,
Like,
I don't do that normally.
I know, but you have been on my case since we got this car to like, no, don't
Yeah,
touch the side of it because it'll scratch the paint. Be careful. Like, I don't
and
know.
here's why, because I traded in the car that I had for you to get that, and I took our old car. So it's
I
like, look, I'm
know.
giving up the nice thing so that you can have the nice thing. Please keep treating it nicely.
Yeah, well, and that was part of why I
And
was
then I got,
crying is because I didn't like I thought I was being safe and conscientious and trying. And then that happens, you know? It was like I was trying.
and what did it
Like, I don't
do?
know.
Gave us 31 minutes of content. So we'll wrap it up there. Thank everybody for what? Thanks. I almost said thank everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.